Hey, VC here. So, dude, sit back, enjoy, get on the trainer. That's what this is, trainer companion. So the idea is that you're going to be riding on the trainer or sitting at work, and we're going to go through all 6 segments of the Garden State Fondo. This was the first one, and so we're already on it. And you can see that I sort of started from the back. That's the Strava hack that I was talking about in the video, is that when it's a timed segment like this, usually the guys will go across the start and then not go full gas. And so if you're at the back of the pack, even if you started the back of the pack and then, throughout the climb finished at the front of the pack, you're putting time on the other guys because, your overall time was shorter. And so sometimes, especially with me and Chaz, we always do this, dude, and it gets so annoying, is that we'll go for a segment and we both know, we probably won't be able to drop each other. And so it's basically whoever starts the segment, last, right? And so it's funny because me and him will get to a point where we're slowing down so much before the segment, all trying to have him go or me go. And so you can see the watts, bro. We're jamming, we're going. And this was the first one, the first time segment. So a lot of these guys don't really know, or at least I don't know. I don't know who's strong, and I don't know who's weak. I don't know who's a good sprinter. I don't know who's a good climber. So again, to me, it's just everyone's super fit. And to be honest, we had been going pretty hard until this point. And I don't know, I think, this weekend for me, it was big, dude. And I was feeling like a garbage can for the first 30, 40 miles. And when we went to hit this, I was like, dude, I feel terrible, dude. I'm barely holding on to the group. But once we hit this one, I don't know if it was just the sheer speed of this, but it sort of blew out my legs. And actually, once I got over this, I started feeling way better after the fact. So I don't know why that happened. But so here comes Nick. He had been kind of sitting at the back, sort of just seeing what people are going to do. I've never been on these climbs. I starred all the segments, but for whatever reason, only one of them showed up. And so I didn't really have any information on how long these climbs were, how steep they were. And that's such a big thing when you're doing timed segments like this, is to have the live Strava segment, starred so that you can see, how much longer you have to go so you can pace. Why am I doing 700 watts, dude? Whoa. What the heck? Jamming, dude. Crushing it. And so I think maybe he was crushing it, or it was really steep there. I wish I had a camera on the back, but it blew apart pretty quick. And again, so he won the time trial on Saturday by a lot. He did 2 minutes, 20 seconds. I did 2 minutes, 35 seconds, I think. And so this is going to tell a lot. This first segment is going to basically, I don't want to say, what it worked out to be, whoever won this, basically the order you finished on this first segment is the order you finished overall. But for the most part, I'm trying to flex, dude. I'm trying to go hard. I'm trying to go deep. I want to beat Nick badly. But dude, you can see the amount of watts, bro. We are not going slow. And again, I have no idea where the finish is. You can see it. I cannot at this point. And so that's really difficult when you're just dude, I don't know if this climb keeps going for an hour. What am I pacing for? But dude, 500 watt, dude, I felt really good during this event. There's a couple events in 2019 that I look back on and was just training was just on point, nutrition was on point, weight was on point, just everything, mental game was on point. Belgian waffle ride, I think was probably one of my best performances ever on a bike, just because it was so hard and so long and so technical. But this one, dude, honestly, I was dropping some watts, man. I was putting out some good watts. I had some good average powers, power for a lot of these segments. So I'm kind of watching this back along with you, right? Remembering how it went is different than how it actually went. So you can see I'm kind of yo-yoing a bit, sort of falling off. And dude, I'm sorry I don't have a heart rate on. I don't like the way it feels. I should have put it on because then you'd be able to really know how I'm feeling. But dude, he's just riding away from your boy. And I'm doing 400 watts, and we've been doing 400 watts. Now, Nick won, I want to say it was the Green Mountain stage race in the Cat 2s. So he's just came off winning a very big and very prestigious stage race. So, if you win a stage race, dude, you're legit. You're too legit. You might actually be too legit to quit. So I'm noodling now, dude. I'm doing 100 watts. I'm kind of devastated. I'm like, bummed that I couldn't hold on to his wheel. But also, on the other hand, there's no one behind me. So when I'm thinking, like, when I'm coming here and Gil, the guy who brought me out, is just hyping me up, bro. He put me on Instagram posts, like mail blasts, stories. I mean, the Garden State Fondo was just hyping me up, dude. And so I felt really obligated to, like, not suck. And so at least at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this was hard, but, second, probably in the bag. So I think I lost 15 seconds to Nick right there. But we've got a long ways to ride. So then shortly after the first time segment, we hit the second time segment. Now this one I did have starred. And again, I Strava hacked it. I came from the back, which almost cost me because Nick from the gun was going really hard. And so I'm actually potentially the Strava hack here, even though I did make up time on him. It could have prevented me from even getting on his wheel because you could see this bro from New York, he let this gap open up. And so now I'm doing almost 600 watts to get back on to terms with Nick. And so, yeah, like the Strava hack's a bit of a gamble. And then, he's like, he couldn't hold on the wheel. I mean, dude, Nick was just super strong. But at this point in the ride, I'm feeling like $1 million. I'm feeling really, really good. And again, I can see on the Strava segment, I can see how much longer it is to where it flattens out. So I'm really just like, all I got to do is go hard for just a very small, a minute or two, and we should be good. I should be able to then ride his wheel. But again, like I said, that Strava hack, dude, you're kind of gambling because you have to not burn a match, but you got to put out some energy in that first little bit to sort of catch back up to the group. And so it's only works if the group crosses the start line and then doesn't really go hard, so then it's like free time. But Nick was not going easy. Like he crossed the line and was just doing 400 watts. So I actually had to do a bunch of watts, 400 or 500 watts to get back on terms with him, like I said. So we're jamming. And again, I'm feeling really good. We've got many more miles to ride in the total event. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see, I've got the time, so what's on my computer screen is the live segment, the Strava live segment. So it shows the time, it shows the estimated time for KOM, it shows my average watts, just shows me everything that I need to know, really, to basically do the best performance of my life, right? So dude, look how hard he's kicking, bro. I'm doing 600 freaking watts. I mean, he is really trying to drop me. And this is where I was like, I'm about to die. My heart's about to explode. But I knew that as long as I stayed with him, once we got over this little riser, it's almost downhill. So just stay on his wheel. But like, dude, I am losing his wheel right now. I'm losing his wheel. It was so close because I was out. I was done. I had no more gas. There's no way that I could have held 400 watts. And then, so the thing is that he's drilling it. But if I didn't stay on his wheel and a little gap opened up, then we would be matching watt for watt. And there's just no way, dude. So I was super proud of myself that I stayed on terms with him. And I am like, I mean, dude, I'm really surprised at these watts, to be honest, now that I'm looking back on it, because I don't really remember the events, like almost 3 months ago, right? But dude, he's drilling it. I'm kind of rooting him on, like, you got it, bro, you got it. Trying to be super encouraging, because as soon as if he wanted to play games and was like flicking his elbow, and then we started counterattacking each other, and that kind of ran through my mind, is like, well, because you can see that I'm doing 200 watts. He's doing probably 350 to 400 because we're going downhill. So I'm trying to get as close to him as I can, get in his draft, play the games. But like, I know that I'm going to put time on him right now. So, how tired is he? Could I throw an attack? Is there a point on this little course where I could counterattack and maybe get away? And then I was thinking, no, because we got to go through this segment again. There's 6 segments. One you do twice, which is this one. And so I was thinking, no, dude, I kind of want to keep like him in my good graces because I'm pretty much going to suck his wheel for the entire event. And so I don't want to start like attacking back and forth because then we're just going to lose any sort of friendship. And I, you know what I mean? Like I want him thinking we're like good friends because I don't want him attacking me because I won't be able to hold on to his wheel if he attacks me. So he keeps looking back, and I keep, again, just throwing him some encouragement. I'm like, dude, we got it. We got the KOM. We're going to get this KOM. It's all you. And if it, did kind of a douchey move to just sit on his wheel. But I do a lot of dumb things on the bike. I do a lot of dumb race tactics. Just because I like to race. I like racing my bike. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be me right now sitting on his wheel and doing nothing. I hate that. I hate being in the guy's position, Nick's position. Where you're just like, come on, dude. Would you come all this way to like not ride your bike? But I'm trying to get a result. So there's like, why are you doing anything in life? Like the why is so important. So, sometimes the why is like, well, I'm here to get a workout. That's why I'm here. Or I'm here to just play bikes. This was more, to be honest, about getting a result. So boom, we crossed the line. I actually put, I think, 5 seconds on him, which was awesome. And so then we go into the third time segment. But dude, Nick was just so strong that he just rode away from everyone. And so then when we hit the third time segment, he was up the road. He was gone. And it's like, well, dude, I'm trying to enjoy the ride. I want to like go hard. I want to play. But in between the time segments, hence that's why you do the time segments, is that you get to not hammer. I mean, this isn't a road race, It's a Fondo, bro. So we hit this one, which is the steepest, I believe. It's the steepest of all of them. And I kind of Strava hacked it, and then I got a little scared because the guy up the road right now is going pretty hard, dude. And he's actually, I've got a pretty good sized gap. And so then I was thinking, oh crap, maybe he's been a sleeper for the first 2, and so then now we hit the steep one. He's going to just put time. Dude, I just have no confidence, okay? Like that's what it really boils down to, man, is that I have zero self-confidence. I don't do well ever. And so that's what builds confidence. Like doing good builds confidence. But since I don't do well often, I just don't have any confidence, man. One, look how beautiful this road is, dude. It's so beautiful. Like the sun, the everything about it's so beautiful. So anyway, just there's been so many times where I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to win or I'm going to do good. Like I feel I'm confident. And then I just get blown out. And it's like, oh, I had such a false sense of confidence. And that's happened so many times where I feel like I'm fit or I feel like I'm good and then just get absolutely shit on. And it's like, oh my goodness, dude, I don't even know how to ride bikes at all. Or just with anything, like racing motos or like business, jiu-jitsu, like any sport I've done. There's like always these moments where I feel really confident and I psych myself up mentally and I'm winning the mental game, I'm winning that mental game. And then it just becomes where I just choke. I fail. I don't live up to my expectations, or I don't do as good as what I usually do. And so one of the things is that, like, this is just how I've always been, is there's people who can perform when the pressure's on, and then there's people that are like, I don't want to say talented because I don't think I'm talented, but like if there's not a lot of pressure, bro, if it's a Fondo and it's like, who cares? Or if it's a group ride and it's like, who cares? I often do much better during those scenarios than a full on, like, okay, here's this race or here's this competition. Like riding motorcycles, a lot of times during my moto career, if you will, there would be sections on a track where like one pro is doing, it's just this crazy pro is doing, and I'll do it. But then in practice, it's like, whoa, he's good. And then, but then when it actually comes down to a race, I'm just, I'm like beginner level, dude. So I don't, and my buddy Tony, he's like the opposite. So if it's not a race, dude, he's not doing good. He wins no group rides. He doesn't do well in Fondos. Like he doesn't. But when the race is on, dude, in the last like lap of a race, the guy he'll just shine and he'll do amazing. And then, that's just how a lot of guys are. They race well or they compete well. And I'm not that way. So anyway, I just got really scared. The whole time I'm scared, dude. I'm like scared that I'm going to throw this away because of how many times I think I've done that in the past. But so anyway, across the segment for the third one, I lost time on him here on Nick. But again, Nick wasn't even there. So now let's talk about this crazy bit. This is going into the fourth time segment. Okay. I was going to get a good run in and this truck like slowed down and to kind of ruined the run in. But anyway, dude, so I sent my coach and friend Tony up the road. Because again, this is that one you go over twice. And this was the one that I stayed with on Nick. But Nick, I don't think he wanted me on his wheel. So after this segment, the first time, he just rode away. Okay? So Nick's up the road. We're going to meet him at the rest stop later. And then a bunch of people are doing this segment because they were behind us, right? So because it loops into each other, you do this twice. So what's kind of neat is there's all these people that are like way in the back of the Fondo, kind of now getting to see the people at the front of the Fondo. And so I am just flexing, bro. I mean, you don't get much of an opportunity. And again, going back to how Gil hyped me up, all these people saw email blasts and Instagrams and Facebook posts about like me. And so then, dude, maybe this is just me, but like internally, I want to do well. I want to like say, hey, the hype is, I don't know how to say it, dude. It's just everything I'm going to say sounds douchey, but like, I want to earn that right. I want to earn the right to have someone hype me up. And so I just feel like sometimes that there's a lot of hype around me and then I just fail, dude. I always fail, and that's frustrating. So right now, as I'm just like ripping past people, I'm feeling so good, dude. I'm just like, yeah, like see me go. But anyway, like I said, I sent my coach and friend Tony up the road. So he's not a very good climber. He's like 1,000 pounds and 800 feet tall. So then he's going to get to the top of this climb and go easy. And once he gets to the top of the climb, he'll have all of his energy. So then he'll draft me into the finish. Okay. So that's what I was thinking would put some time on Nick. And so that's the plan. And so I'm going real hard, but I'm kind of right now going, I went a little too hard. I went a little too hard when I saw all those people, the whole group coming together of the people that were towards the back of the Fondo. I was like, flexing a little too hard. So I'm kind of dying out right now. And I'm trying to see Tony. I'm trying to look for Tony. And dude, we actually timed it perfectly. So I think you can see him up the road now. And so then I see him. I'm like, cool. And then I'm actually, as we get closer, I start yelling at him. Dude, 500 watts? Very impressed with my power during this event, like I've already said. So then I'm kind of yelling at him like, all right, dude, get ready to go. But then he kind of was going a little early. But either way, you can see on the right hand side that we've still got a little more climb to go. I mean, it's 8%. It doesn't look like it though, right? Like if you didn't have that gradient, you'd be like, oh, this is nothing. But it's pretty steep. So again, dude, I feel so good. I feel so good when I'm passing these people. And then obviously the thing with being vegan, like I've taken a standpoint to say plants are good for you. And so when I don't do well, I just feel really stupid about it. And I feel like it's an easy way for people to be like, yeah, see, plants suck. Go bacon. So I jump on Tony's wheel here, right? So anyway, so I'm like very happy that I'm doing well and representing the plant-based lifestyle properly. That's another thing that just kind of eats me up inside sometimes is like, God, I wish I was a better athlete. I wish I was a better, not influencer, but like just a representative of the vegan lifestyle. So I don't know what other people's take on it. It's just me personally, dude, sometimes getting all in my head about the whole thing. But so anyway, he flicks his elbow. I'm like, dude, you know what I mean? Well, I kind of like crushed it to get to you, and you took like a 30-second pull. But it's all good, man. It's all good. And so we're ripping, doing 25 something. And I wish I remember what the time splits were. I think I made up 1 second on Nick. I only made up 1 second on Nick. And Nick was solo during this whole thing. And I had a little bit of help. But right now, you can see I had very little help. I'm not trying to take anything away from my coach and my friend, Tony. He's my homie. But, you know what I mean? He could have... look how big he is, dude. The draft is significant. So I was really hoping that he was going to have more. But it doesn't matter. He lived in California, and we became good friends in California. But then he moved to Pennsylvania. He went to Penn State to be a scientist, like an actual scientist. Sometimes people always say something about scientists. Oh, scientist. Like, he is a scientist. He does science. That's why the back of his jersey says #science. He actually's had scientific studies published in runners magazines and cycling magazines about the effects of sunscreen and how it dilates your blood vessels, and it's like actually sunscreen's good for performance. And he was kind of crazy. He led that study, got published. It has changed the face of performance science, which is cool. So anyway, back to this. That dude, I don't know where he came from, because he wasn't with me in the very beginning, but I think we caught up to him at some point. Anyway, so we're just kind of rolling. We're cycling. That's funny, right? And so we're getting close to the finish line. I kind of kick, and our little Strava hack didn't work great because I only made up 1 second on Nick. But that's better than not making up any seconds. You know what I mean? So, hooray. All right, so we're coming into the 5th time segment. And I'm pretty tired at this point. And I don't know what the time splits have been for those other 2 segments. I just assume that Nick probably went faster than me. And then right now, I was like Strava hacking it. I was like, shit, dude, Nick is going. Dude, he is going. So then, really, the Strava hack here, not that Not that it caused me to get dropped, but doing 500 watts right off the bat, you know what I mean, dude, that's not super smart. I just didn't expect him to go so hard from the beginning, but I think he was he knew that I was way off the back, so so I shouldn't have done the Strava hack. I should have been right on his wheel the whole time, because burning that little match right there, and then dude, he's just kicking so hard. But this was one of the most beautiful roads that I have been on, and without like being, I guess, in a national park or something, right? It's a very, very pretty road. I'd love to ride this not full gas, because I was, tongue and spoke, just digging so deep. And at one point, the film crew, they came and they were filming, and it's like after he dropped me. So, I was doing everything I could to try to catch back onto him, because I really wanted like good footage of me and him battling. And, I know that I'm not that far off of him. Like maybe I could get him here. I don't know, dude. Like maybe I could just go. I could just find another gear and, but this is a long one. This is a long climb. Again, I don't think I have it starred, or maybe I had this one starred. It looks like I do. It looks like from where I see here that looks like the live segments on there. So maybe, because I knew that this one was long, and I actually fell off his wheel at one point. It's like such a vegan excuse to say on purpose, but like I fell off his wheel on purpose because I knew I wasn't going to be able to hold that pace all the way to the finish, and I wanted to try to like kind of Chris Froome back onto him. And so again, we're passing people that are doing the shorter route. So there's the longer route, the 200 kilometer, 125 mile, and then I think there's just the Century. And so again, dude, it just feels so good to just blow by someone. It just feels good. And I know that as the person getting blown by, like that person's just like, what the fuck, dude? I was here to have a good time, and now you're making me feel inferior. But I'm stealing your joy. I'm stealing your joy, and I'm feeding off of it. You had joy. Now I have the joy. Like right now, boom, I'm flying past him at 600 watts. And I just, that feels so good. It feels good. Again, very, very not often am I ever flying by anyone. So it doesn't matter, dude. Maybe you're a Cat 17. It don't matter. I'm feeling really good that I'm flying up this hill. But dude, look at all these watts, man. Look at these watts. Very impressed with these watts. 15%. Very steep. And we're going. We're going. That guy almost ran into us right there. All good. And so, beautiful road. Well paved. Nick's drilling it. We're about halfway through. And I wish I had the heart rate on, like I said, because you'd be able to tell just how much in the locker I am. But I am very much in it. Very much in it. I don't know. I'm like almost blacking out, right? Often I sort of go into a point where I go so hypoxic that like I just can't focus. My brain is just like, just has no oxygen in it. And so I don't know if that's one of the things that like separates me from some of the other faster guys, is like the mental side. I often think sometimes some of the guys that are better, look at that, the camera guy right there. I don't know if they got that shot, but that was such a sick shot. We like split around that guy, just full racing. Here's Gil. That's Gil, that's who brought me out. He kind of runs the whole event. And so anyway, lost my train of thought. Here he goes, dude. Just attacking so hard, bro. So hard. Look at this other guy. He's going hard too. And I think this is where I start to lose him. I mean, dude, I've been going really hard. You see the watts, man. The watts don't lie. I'm weighing in at about 155 pounds right now. 154, 155 pounds. That dropped. So like race weight, you know what I mean? I'm not heavy, dude. I'm pretty light. I'm pretty lean. Intermittent fasting has done me well with that. Okay, so then here comes the freaking film crew, dude. Like, right as I get dropped, the film crew comes. And, I want to get back up to Nick so bad because I want footage of me and him battling. But either way, dude, the footage they got was smoking hot. And so I try to get right up to the camera because I can, in my mind, see what that camera sees. And I'm just like, such a banger shot, dude. And I know that they're shooting in like super slow-mo. So I'm digging, and I'm kinda thinking like, well, maybe I'm gonna get a draft. Maybe I could just hang on to the car. Like, they can motor pace me back, but they left me, dude. It made for a really good shot though in the video, in the Fondo video, where I'm super close, and then I just slowly get further and further away from the shot, which kind of gave this sense of like that I'm getting dropped. So it actually ended up being really cool. Almost get killed by a car there because I'm hypoxic. And yeah, so we're getting close to the finish, and then I pretty much died out. I mean, I was going really hard to stay with Nick, and even though my power's not garbage right now, dude, it's not. He's just like, and that's the thing, when someone's FTP, someone can have so much more power than you that their zones, are on a whole nother, it's like a whole nother zone. So like my zone 4 is his zone 3. Or like when he's going zone 4, that's my zone 5. Which means that it doesn't matter how much you want it. It doesn't matter how motivated you are. If Nick's doing zone 4 power, and to stay on his wheel, I have to do zone 5 power. That means that he can do that same effort for maybe, say, anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. As of where if I'm in zone 5, not a chance. It's impossible to do zone 5 for 20 minutes. That's not zone 5, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm just going to do zone 5 for longer and it's going to hurt more. It's just, that's not how it works. That's why your zones are set up, is that, basically at your highest in, you're not doing 20 minutes of zone 5. So what I'm saying is, like, when he's able to sit in this position and go, I'm going to hold these watts for 20 minutes, and then the stupid vegan on my wheel, there's no way he's going to be able to hang on to that. So as long as I just hold this, he's a goner, which I am, and I was. Big time goner. But either way, dude, again, dude, I am stoked on second. So we're going to head into the 6th and final segment, which after this, we sort of regrouped, and a couple of these guys were saying, that this is a fast, flat segment, and that if we had a good-sized group, we could really roll through it. And so we kind of waited for a bunch of guys, and we sort of got together. But as you can see on the elevation on the side, it's really not that flat. And so a couple guys, that are just maybe not so much climbers, they, like my coach, Tony, he's on the front right now. And that was about it. He just did one small pull. We kind of didn't, man, look, the whole thing is 125 miles. And other than like me, Nick, and the guy in the green shoes, you can't really see him. Most of these other guys, dude, were going so hard outside of the time segments. You know what I mean? Like, I was barely holding on just to the overall pace. So, most of these guys, dude, they're very strong in just like an overall, hey, let's just go hard for a long period of time. And that's just how it is sometimes, dude. Your power profile, everyone's power profile is a little different. And some guys, they have a bigger zone 3. They operate better in like, let's go decently hard for a long time. Versus like, if you don't race a lot, if you don't race a lot, dude, and you don't train the like surges and the spikes, that's difficult for you to do. And so I felt like if we were doing a point to point road race essentially, that I don't know, I don't think I'd get second. That's for sure. I mean, Nick would have just soloed away, but these other guys, dude, it'd have been really hard to stay on their wheels just for the entirety, if that makes any sense. So anyway, beautiful roads. The thing about the Garden State Fondo, and I think I said this in the other video, was that it's beautiful always. You know what I mean? There is no variant into the landscape. And so kind of though, and I don't want to like talk smack or anything, but one of the things that I suggested to be different for next year, or that I would have liked, is some sort of vista point. And maybe that's not a thing on the East Coast, but like in California, there's a lot of destinations that you would ride to. There's a place you're going to ride and go to a place, and it has a neat lookout, or there's a neat lake, or there's a thing, and a picture opportunity, right? Get the snaps for the grams. It's sort of just the entire 125 miles looked the same, which is, it's cool it looks cool, but it's hard for me to even remember one point of the ride that was like any better than another point of the ride. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe if there was like a river or a dock or like something, some place along this route that we could have stopped at and been like, okay, let's take some pictures here. Like, this is the iconic Garden State Fondo picture. But maybe it's not like that on the East Coast. Maybe it's just all pretty, because it's not like in California, because of the elevation, you go from ugly, flat, gross valley, dead, dry, broken buildings. And then you go up and up and up and up in elevation. And so then it just keeps getting prettier and prettier and prettier. So maybe by context, like the prettiest thing in California is like at the top of the mountain is very similar to like this. But since you rode through a bunch of garbage, I don't know. Dude, it's late, okay? It's late, and I'm just ranting for 45 minutes. So we're riding good, and again, at this point, bro, I've got second unlock. I've got it locked up. I am in the back of my mind, though, thinking, what if there was a couple dudes that weren't in this group? They were just on the back, and they were really strong. And so I'm thinking I'm competing for second, and really, I'm like going to get 9th or 10th, because there'll be a whole nother group that was just blowing out everyone. I was very worried about that. I was very worried about that all the way until I saw the results. You know what I'm saying? I was scared. Your boy gets scared. It happens, dude. And why don't people talk about it more? Everyone seems to, and this, okay, I'm going to go on a whole tangent now. So the thing is, bro, is that, okay, you can be an elitist. How do I say this? I wish I could reverse. Let me say this. So when I first got into cycling, there were a couple guys that were so good. You know what I mean? And I wanted to be like them. I wanted to ride with them. It was like I was intimidated to even like talk to them, and they were total assholes. Okay, they acted like they were born Cat 1s. You know what I mean? That they never had any adversity, that they just win every single race. That's how they acted. And there was one time we were on a group ride and with them, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm on a group ride with these guys. Like, I'm so starstruck. And then someone like missed a turn because we didn't know where we were going, and they started yelling at this guy like that he's an idiot. And it's like, dude, he just missed a turn because no one called it out. I was just so disgusted when I first entered the cycling community by how many elitist douchers there were. And you don't need to do that. Like, if you are good at riding bikes, that's great, man. That's cool. But you can't feel, and you can't make other people feel like that somehow they're such a less person than you, right? It's just riding bikes, dude. It's not like, It's not, you don't have magical powers. And for the most part, a lot of times, the reason that you're better at bikes than other people is because you just devote a lot of time into it. That's one of the things I like about cycling is that, the more time you invest, the more you get out of it. So even if you're not that talented, you can sort of work hard to play on the bigger levels and play with the big boys. So like, I think that anything we can do to break down that elitistness, because like, it doesn't matter who you are, dude. Everyone gets slightly intimidated by someone else. You sort of get a little nervous. You get a little scared. Like, those are just human emotions. And so why do so many people want to hide those and be like, nah, dude, like I'm not scared of anything. Like, well, something scares you, right? I mean, so why not show a little bit of that vulnerability? Why not help someone in a position where like maybe they don't know what they're doing? Like, it's so easy to just help someone along the way a little bit. So anyway, you know what I mean? If you're good at riding bikes, dude, don't be an elitist doucher. And then if you're not good at riding bikes, on the other opposite end, like, just because someone's going fast doesn't mean that they're automatically an asshole. There's one time, and I gotta wrap up this story quick because it's almost over, but there was this girl she's like well known, and I was doing intervals, and I'm like, my computer's counting down like 5, 4, 3 to do my interval, and she came up from behind and said, "Hey, what's going on?" Right as my interval went, and I took off, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm such a douche. And so after my interval, I stopped, and I was like, hey, I didn't mean to do that, but you know what I mean? I could have just rode off into the sunset, and then it would have been like, oh man, this guy's such a dork. But I tried to make that right. Anyway, final segment, little Superman here, flies past me, gets me at the end. And that's it, dude. That's all the segments of the Garden State Fondo. Hope you enjoyed. Vegan Cyclist. Yeah.